Yes, remember this video. Here he is in his office. Look at this place. So this was nuts. And we were watching it. We were breaking it down. We were going through every little item and trying to figure out what it was. Kind of makes sense now. We didn't know what this hustle art was going to be. Remember, this was a big mystery, and we kept guessing, is this artwork behind his desk? Is this like a picture of Tony himself? Because I've seen Tony wear, back in the day, Tony used to wear these Argyle, what do you call this? This design. Tony used to wear like little sweater vests and cardigans that had this design on it.
That's right.
So we thought, oh my God, he's so gaudy, so tacky. He must have blown up and got some hustle art made of himself. And we were guessing, I think another one of our, what other guesses did we have of who this was here?
I don't think
we couldn't figure it out, right? Okay, so we couldn't figure it out. Thank God. I got a message from a viewer. They said, I know what art Tony Hinchcliffe has behind his desk on the drywall. I know because I have it myself. You're not going to believe this. He sends me this picture, and it is hustle art of Tony Soprano.
I didn't want to say, but I think I guessed it was Tony Soprano. I just didn't want to spoil it because I remember saying that word.
Oh, okay. So look at, you can see here, that's what we saw from his, oh no, that's the kid's house. But there it is. So it's a big version of this. Tony Soprano split up into 3. Where do you get this hustle art from? Of Tony Soprano.
Was
there
so
it was.
Huge. He had to make it 3.
Isn't that nuts? Isn't that tacky? How do you not be embarrassed? Well, it turns out Tony thinks the Sopranos are awesome. Should we play Tony?
I know what's better, the Sopranos or Howie? Because there's both.
Yeah. Let's see.
Here, let me quickly read that.
Let's see the Tony. I think we should do this Sopranos one. He was on the Sopranos Kids podcast. Let's show a little bit of this. We could go through this one, and then we'll do the
next
one.
And then I'll do a couple of the Howie.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely want to do the Howie.
Okay.
Oh, I definitely want to do the Howie. The Howie ones are great. So here's Tony. Look, he's on the Sopranos Kids podcast. Tony Hinchcliffe. Let's go to his first lie. He starts off the show with a lie, which is never a good thing to do. Starts off the show with a blatant lie. We're going to show you this.
2 minute 0200.
Yeah, hold on. My sorry, my note went away. There it is. Okay, what was it again?
0200.
0200. Okay, here we go. Listen to this. Starting off the podcast with the Sopranos Kids. So now we know he's a big Tony Soprano fan. I mean, imagine to have a painting of Tony Soprano in your home. Imagine. In any room. To have any Tony Soprano related anything in your home is nuts to me. If you're not up to speed, I think Tony Soprano is as cringe as it gets. Maybe that's because of the Anthony Cumia impression that I've been hearing for the last 20 years. But to me, oh my God, and these Burberrys. You know, they sell these at Sunglass Hut. These aren't the good ones. So we went to Sunglass Hut. He got these Burberrys. Okay. All right. Let's hear him open the podcast with a lie.
Real deal, though, because you were so kind. But then we were like, put it out there. Like, you should come on our podcast, which is like such a douchey thing to do. Like, I almost hated it when it came out of my mouth. But literally, it was less than a week ago, and here you are. That's so nice of you.
Yeah, and I don't even do people's podcasts.
I'm sure.
It's not even a thing. But
here you are.
Oh, wait,
only
when
Rogan's.
When you showed up here, you were like, I've been here 5 times because I did Danny Brown, I did Dr. Dre, I did YMH.
Well, that's a little bit different. But
So he's trying to be like me. Mr. I don't even do podcasts, so it's actually an honor I'm here with you guys because I never do podcasts. Oh, yeah? Go to YouTube, type in Tony Hinchcliffe interview. He's been on 16 podcasts in the last month. All of them. He's done everyone's podcast. So I don't know what this business is about. He never does podcasts. I'm glad the Soprano Kid calls him out right here.
And I don't even do people's podcasts.
I'm sure.
It's not even a thing. But
But here you are.
Oh, wait,
only
when
Rogan's.
When you showed up here, you were like, I've been here 5 times because I did Danny Brown, I did Dr. Drew, I did YMH.
Well, that's a little bit different, but
of course.
And it's here, so that's the only thing. And I love Danny, and I never got to hang out with. I used the Dr. Drew episode as
what
like
about all the other podcasts? You have a good excuse for that, and this isn't a good excuse. Horrible. Well, Danny Brown because I love Danny Brown. Oh, okay. That's still a podcast on the same network. So you're starting off. She knows a liar. She's been lied to every minute of her life. Remember Johnny Drown? Wait, who was she dating? Turtle. Remember what she went through with Turtle? That's where I know her from. Entourage.
Same.
Yes. Okay, so I didn't watch The Sopranos. Wasn't allowed. I had a very strict college life. Okay, let's see. I don't do podcasts. Should we go to 21 minutes here?
Sure.
Check this out. And what would that be? How do you convert that?
2100.
2100. Perfect. Oh, it's such a short show. I love a short show. Okay, listen to this one. So Tony loves The Sopranos.
You're like, oh, I can't. Yeah. Was there shit that happened?
I mean, I'm Anthony.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're not going to be like, I hate that
every
kid.
Tony is an Anthony.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and my dad's, stupid, but my dad's middle name was Anthony. His father was an Anthony. So I'm technically almost a fucking Anthony Jr.
Right.
Wow.
And the same exact age as you. We're like a year apart.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm watching.
Holy shit.
Yeah. But now, not annoying. If anybody was annoying, there wasn't.
Does he say more about that? Wasn't he going to say something? Because this note is Tony is Anthony Soprano.
Here, go to 2200.
Okay, here's the part. Yeah,
What
they're
part
going
are
to
you
talk
talking about?
where he talks about how his family was identical.
Yes.
Yes, is that this? 22?
Go to 2352.
2352. Pop that in. Listen to this.
Was there shit that happened in your life and you were like, and then you saw it on Sopranos and you were like, that's exactly.
Well, I had a teacher back in the day.
No, not this. He set it up. Maybe we just didn't code it. Where he, clear as day, says, my upbringing was exactly The Sopranos. We would watch the show and I'd be like, is this us? He claims his dad was a big guy in the Mafia.
Yes, but he tells the story all the time.
Yeah, no, I know.
Go to 920.
Okay, let's see. There we go.
And then he never tried to make, I think one of the genius things about David is that he never ever tried to make any character look good, sound good, be good. You know what? It was almost like the opposite. Like he was trying to make you the most human and flawed person that's ever spoken.
Yeah, well, it's so interesting to find out that, that they casted so many like normal humans from New Jersey and everything.
Well, Tony Sirico done like jail time. Like he was a legit. And that's like, when people say like, I wish I could have met James Gandolfini, I'm like, yeah, you would have loved him. He's so nice to me. When people say like, I wish I could have met Tony Sirico, I'm like, you did.
Yeah.
Like that you watched 80 hours of his life. Like that was him. He was never. So one of my favorite stories about him, we were at a charity event.
I'm looking for where it starts.
Yes, this is not what I wanted to show you.
I didn't know that you wanted this part. Sorry,
no, that's okay.
Sorry.
Tony's story about his mafia dad controlled the schools. Do you remember the first time you snitched?
I thought everybody knew all of Tony's stories.
I don't
about
think so.
His mafia past.
Tony's mafia's dad that he was rich. Okay, just give me another one here from this list that would be good to move forward from it.
Okay, so
let's pretend they know that part. If you don't know this,
Tony always talks about how he grew up in Youngstown, the most dangerous street on the block, and that
these unbelievable stories about his past that I'm sure have additions to them.
If you want to show one of the additions examples, you can go to 2352.
Okay, let's see what happens here. Listen to this.
Was there shit that happened in your life and you were like, and then you saw it on Sopranos and you were like, that's exactly.
Well, I had a teacher back in the day, Mr. Gil Martin. I'm pretty sure he's dead now, so I can talk about this.
R.I.P.
But I was making a joke because I was.
I mean, you're pretty sure he's dead, so you could lie about this. Listen to this lie.
And imagine an insane class clown, nonstop. Always in trouble, always
like class
signing
nerd.
a conduct card, everything, every fucking day. And so the teachers hated me, and Mr. Gilmartin really hated me. He felt like he wanted to teach me a lesson. So anyway, one day I was making a joke, a blatant joke with all my buddies about, yeah, my dad jerked me off the other night, something like that. And he goes, oh, he did? I go, no, I'm kidding. He goes, no, you know what? You said that. You're going to learn today, my buddy. And so he goes to the principal and says, Tony made a, well, he didn't, I don't know if he said that I made a joke about it. But anyway, he goes, Tony said that his dad jerked him off.
No, you're disturbing the class. You know, this is like Matt Rife's airplane thing. You must follow the rules of school. Well, what these kids think this is, it's like a game to them, this school. You respect the teacher. You're causing a disturbance. You listen to your teachers. Okay? I was always big into my teachers and stuff like that. You follow the rules at school. And look at her, because she followed all. She doesn't like this. This is cool to you that you're yelling out your dad jerked you off. She doesn't get that humor. Okay? She doesn't understand this world she's been thrown in with YMH and Tom Segura. She doesn't understand any of it. Okay, listen to the additions, though, that are going to come from this unbelievable story coming up.
We have to call children's services. And let me remind you, my dad and me, it was a secret thing.
Oh, wait, this isn't about you being a class clown and being a jerk up. The teacher thought you were admitting to being molested by your father. Okay, that's great. Well, hey, I'm glad he is looking out. And you probably were jacked off by your dad. You probably talked about, because you look and act like you were molested by dad. You know?
And he's always talking about all this illegal activity.
Yeah, you said your dad was in the mafia. If he's going to break the laws that the mafia breaks, he'd clearly break the laws of pedophilia. So your dad jerked you off. You told people at school because you didn't know that was bad. You know, you thought that was nice. You enjoyed it. Okay, you got off with your dad. You fucked your dad. The teacher hears this. He's really disturbed, and he knows you're telling the truth because you never make jokes. And then he reports that he wants to call child services. Okay, let's hear the rest of the story.
Services, and let me remind you, my dad and me, it was a secret thing. Like I wasn't supposed to go around town and tell people who my dad was or anything like that. Right. Well, that either. Oh. But it was, I was the secret, and I was fine with that. It probably psychologically affected me a little bit, being a secret kid.
That he wasn't your dad, or that he was in the crime syndicate?
Well, he was in that and that, but it was like a secret kind of.
And remember, Tony doesn't understand. These are Hollywood actors. They're not actually in the mob, and they probably are sickened by the mob, okay? And they've probably heard some really disturbing stories, while they did this Sopranos life that they, her whole life is just the Sopranos, okay? She doesn't think this is as glamorous as you. She's not imagine thinking that the mafia is cool, first of all. That's crime.
Has your dad killed someone?
You don't like, this is the same guy who every fucking week lets us know. Did you know in LA they just let you rob the stores and they don't arrest these scumbags?
Wow.
Yep, they just let you rob your car and loot the store, and you call the police, they won't do anything about it, those liberal people. Your dad, he did way worse. So if you hate crime so much when it's committed by black people and the Hispanics, you should hate your dad the most. But no, you glamorize your dad's life of crime, pretending that you basically are Anthony Jr.
Like my dad is blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Wow.
I have a different last name than my dad. I took the last name of the husband that was, my mom wanted me to have the same name as my brothers and sisters that were much older than me, but with the different dad that she was married to, even though they were. A
lot of dads in your life, huh? You know how many I have? One. The normal amount. How many dads this guy have? What is he, screwing around with one dad, fooling around with another, taking the name of the mom? That's sick. Anybody here have their mother's maiden name as their guy's last name? It's fucking... That's worse than being trans. Even he is like, you took your mother's last name? That's straight up gay. So Tony, that's really embarrassing. I can't believe Tony has his mother's maiden name. You know, that's what you're supposed to be using that for a security question. Not your last name.
Whatever. You know, you just didn't get divorced back then. I'm sure you guys have heard about this. Like you
come from
lived
a family
in
divorce,
separate bedrooms, but you didn't get
Right.
divorced. And my dad was going through the same thing: separate bedrooms from his wife, and just banging my mom.
Oh,
For
and
11
his mom, by the way, is utterly disgusting. She's so old. She's so fat. The fact that your mafia dad would bang this bitch is disgusting. And you sat around while all these men railed your fucking mom, who looks like a Catholic school teacher.
Same thing. Separate bedrooms from his wife, and just banging my mom for 11 years, by the way, until I was made. So they had like a super secret romance. Anyway, so Mr. Gilmartin wanted to make a fucking stink, not realizing what he was dealing with. So he has the principal call Children's Services. They track down who my dad was and call him. And, you know, my dad basically is like, I'm sure he was making a fucking joke. What are you guys talking about? But this Mr. Gilmartin applied the pressure, blah, 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 blah. Long story short, oh man, it's crazy.
From the additions.
But he wasn't a teacher there much longer. And my mom and I are at the grocery store a few months later, and he's stacking cantaloupes. In the produce section of the grocery store, his new job, wearing the apron and not seeming happy. And it's very much...
You're almost as good as Howie Mandel's daughter at podcasting. You're really good. Jesus Christ. This could be on one of these fappening pages here. You want to put this on the fappening? sopranosfappening.net.org?
No.
There's going to be a lot of pop-up ads with this one. Oh, you don't care at all. This is the face a girl makes when they could give a fuck.
Long story shorted the part that would be the most interesting. Like, how did this go down? Did you come into school one day and the teacher was fired? Did the dad tell you it was because of him?
Well, let's hear. I think he's insinuating that his dad is such a powerful figure in the town that anyone who messes with his kid immediately disappears.
Like the, again, I can't believe you guys haven't seen the fucking show.
Yeah.
But there's a guy that gave Tony a ticket, and he ends up working in like a gardening.
Yes.
So it's a scene. It just happens. A story that no one could confirm from a dead teacher and a missing dad. It just so happens it's exactly one of your favorite scenes from The Sopranos. I think I have a scene of The Sopranos that maybe you've been a part of. It goes like this. It's a joke! It's the only part of The Sopranos you've done.
Oh.
And you see the guy, and you
Can I
kind of
give
feel
you my
guilty.
picture and resume to play your mom in the show? Like, oh my God, this is
bitch.
crazy.
You get
Oh, it
56K.
goes on and on and on.
So
That's just the first one I thought of. I mean, if I sat down and really thought about it, I could go on and on and on.
Well, think about it. Go on and on.
Your character, like, figuring it out, and you telling him, like, you don't know. I have an older sister who literally had that conversation with me. Like, you can't talk about it. It's a thing.
Oh, wow.
It's our own thing. You can talk with me about it, but you can't talk.
His dad had a jerk-off Italian restaurante. And every guy who owns an Italian restaurant, because they might know a guy from a guy and a guy, and then their kids think, oh, my dad's in the mafia here. Your dad wasn't in the mafia. You had no money. The only difference between Tony Soprano and your dad is you weren't rich. That's what you say here at 38.
35.
35. Here we go. Listen to this.
Like, I love Donnie Brasco.
Oh, another
Like, I
horrible
think it's one of the
film.
best. And I think the reason I like it is because it doesn't glamorize being in the mafia. You know what I mean?
They're against mafia glamorification. They think that's like sickening to them. They've heard too many bad stories here. Tony is really into like telling people, oh yeah, my dad was actually in the mafia. That's really fucking stupid to tell people. And not cool. So, okay, so you come from a family of liars and crooks? And I'm to believe that you're any different? Because you seem to think your dad was pretty awesome. So how many crimes do you commit? Because I'm getting roofie stories every day here. From people that are very non-believable, by the way. but there's stories nonetheless. A lot of stories about you going Cosby at the Comedy Store with your roofie buddy, Jeff Ross, who is also, I've heard a lot of stories. You and Jeff Ross spent a lot of time together with your roasts. I'm sure you and Jeff Ross have done something bad. I just know it. And your nervousness, whenever someone starts telling a story about something that you're unsure of, especially when it's at the Comedy Store, you get a little nervous, don't you? What did you and Jeff Ross do? Because I get all the time fellow comedians, oh, you got it. This Jeff Ross is real bad. The Roast Master General, Jeff Ross, a lot of horror stories about women from him, right?
Yes.
We read them every day in the paper. So Tony, and that was Tony's mentor, which we're going to find out next.
I mean, like, they show the guy who's like, yeah, it's hard to pay the bills, but he's like, doing all this shit. So I wanted to know, like, what was like the non-glamorous side of like living that lifestyle? Were there times where you were like, yo, this, like, the bad parts?
Well, really a lot of it, because the difference between my life and The Sopranos was that Tony Soprano was making, I think, a lot more money than, my family was.
Okay, so there you have the only difference between him and The Sopranos. Tony was making a little bit more money. So Tony's been doing this media tour, a very glamorous media tour, hopping from pod to pod. He just told them, you guys are very lucky to have me. I don't really do podcasts. Well, here he is on Howie Mandel.